You may shoot me with your words. You may cut me with your eyes. You may kill me with your hatefulness. But still, like life, I'll rise.
I refuse to accept the view that mankind is so tragically bound to the starless.
Hello and good morning. Welcome back to the Black News Beat. And I know what you're thinking. Kamika, it's Friday. What are you doing here? Well, we had an election on Tuesday and I was very tired after that. So I wanted to make sure that we still got together this week because we have a lot to review. There's so much happening. There's so much news happening. There's all kinds of things happening, but we're not talking about that today. We're talking about election results and we're talking about Juneteenth because guess what? We are 28 days away from our first event. So we really want to get you guys oriented to everything what we're doing and make sure that the whole community understands the importance of our week-long celebration. I also know you saw everything that's happening when the Juneteenth crew had to go to city council. We know you saw all of that. But I still want to make sure we outline the importance of Juneteenth in the city of Harrisburg, celebrating it as an African-American holiday, making sure that we're honoring the history and culture of Juneteenth, and especially what it means to the state of Pennsylvania. So we're going to go over all of that. But first, I always do a certain format. I do Sweeping the Streets. I have Media and Melanin. I have all those different things. But today we're going to do something a little different because I want to talk Juneteenth and I want to talk elections. So we're going to zoom in on that today. But before I do that, I got to tell y'all something. This is my purse. Do you see this purse? I lost this purse last Friday on a plane going to LAX to celebrate my cousin. So I've been talking on the show about my cousin's movie Is God Is, and last weekend she had her director's cut party, basically just celebrating the release of her movie. Her wonderful partner Mark threw the best party I've been to in a long time. Shout out to all the DJs. We had a blast, I want to tell you. And the only bad thing that happened is on my way into LAX, honey, I left this on the plane. You understand what I'm saying? And I didn't even realize it until I got all the way back to the house where I was staying. And what was funny was I was getting off the plane and I looked back at the seat and I went, I feel like I'm forgetting something. And then I kept going. So I just felt it, but I knew something, like my spirit knew I was forgetting something. My body was calling me back, but I just didn't do it. So yesterday, so after 4 emails, I'll go from there. 4 emails, they kept saying, we can't find your stuff. We can't find your stuff. We can't find your stuff. Where is your stuff? We don't know where your stuff is, right? And so I'm like freaking out. I'm like, all this important stuff is in here. Was a present from a friend. She got me this maybe 3 years ago when we were in Florida. I wanted to keep that, obviously. This is my show phone. This is what I used to tape when I'm doing stuff in the community. And these are a month old. These are my DJI mics that I use when I'm doing like just different things in the community. So I'm like freaking out. Oh my goodness. 3-4 days. Friday, can't find it. Saturday, can't find it. Actually, more than that. 5 to Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Wednesday. I'm on the phone with my therapist. I call her to just check in and I tell her, I said, I had a great weekend. But the only bad thing that happened is I lost my purse on the plane. I left my purse on the plane. And she said, let me pray for you right now. This is days right after I have been getting the emails from American Airlines. Also, shout out to American Airlines because they found my stuff and got it shipped to me. She was like, no, let me pray for you right now. So she says, this is a prayer that my friend prays, and they pray it if they lose something. And they prayed this prayer. They had lost their checkbook in a whole nother state. And when they got home, the checkbook was at their door. And I was like, we got to pray this prayer. What is it? Very simple prayer. Lord, I lost my stuff. Please return it to me the way that it left me. And that's all she said. And we kept going with our conversation. 2 hours later, email, we found your stuff. That's a real story I'm telling you right now. Okay. And I was like, oh man, God wins again. Cause I'm not, y'all who know my backstory, I'm not that religious anymore. So I was like, okay, we'll pray. No problem. So I called her immediately and I was like, guess what just happened? They found my stuff and they're shipping it to me tomorrow. So Thursday, they gave me the notification, and Friday before 10 a.m., this was on my back stoop. And I'm so excited to have all my stuff back. So shout out to American Airlines. Shout out to Dr. Denise for praying for me. And, shout out to the universe for confirming that I am, worthy of my stuff being found. So I was very excited about that. Thank you for listening to that story. It has been a crazy week for me. I did go to California last week to see my cousin, who is the director. This is her actually debut directing film, Is God Is, which is getting a lot of buzz right now. If you have not seen Is God Is, I want to implore you to please see it. I have so many reactions. I saw it for the second time, and I was able to enjoy it more this time. The first time I had a very visceral, emotional reaction because it deals with daddy-daughter themes, and with my own relationship with my father, I just felt very like, and it awoke a lot of things in me. So I needed to process that first. But I really appreciate the themes. It deals with, and I'll always say it, the daddy-daughter issues. It deals with the sins of the parents being visited on the children. That was a big one. The state of men and emotionality of men and how it can affect the women in their lives and the people in their lives, their children. It deals with how women feel that they have to, exact revenge, and it deals with rage, women's rage, which I thought was a really nice theme. We don't talk about women's rage and anger enough. And I think this is something that we need to visit. We're always discussing men's emotionality and anger as a very normal passé thing. But when it's time to talk about women's emotionality and women's anger and women's rage, we immediately mark it as a faux pas. Women aren't allowed to be angry, not publicly. Women aren't allowed to be emotional, not publicly, because why are you such a hysterical person, right? Why are you such an angry Black woman? Why are you such a, wild and crazy Latina? Like every single demographic of woman has a particular kind of stereotype that's put onto them, particularly Black women. And this film really celebrates female rage, Black female rage, in a way that I think is very honest and shines a mirror on how we deal with, different kinds of rage in our community. It was a lot. There's a lot to process, and every day I have a new insight. I'm going to go see it a couple more times. So if you want to come with me and discover some insights together, I invite you. I'm probably going to go sometime this weekend after Arts Fest, because Arts Fest is this weekend in the city of Harrisburg, if you're going. And I'm never going to stop talking about this movie, especially because this movie, for my cousin, there was a play she wrote many years ago, and it won a prize. It's won several awards. She's also a Pulitzer Prize winning playwright. And this is the first movie that she has done, that she has directed. So written and directed by Alicia Harris. Shout out to her. The whole cast is inspiring. You will either super love or super hate Sterling K. Brown in this. I want you to be ready. You will either super hate or super love them. And I hated his guts. Okay. I wanted him dead immediately. You understand what I'm saying? And you'll see why when the film is on. Vivica Fox did her big one. I've never seen her in a role like this. And when I say never, I mean, you can go back through all of the things she's ever done. I think I've seen every single thing Vivica has ever done because, that's who I grew up with. And I've never seen anything like this. She did such a good job. And of course, so did Janelle Monáe. Oh, I also got to meet Erica Alexander last weekend. I'll put that up so you can see. And it was just, you have to see the movie. I don't know what else to say about it. I'm gonna keep talking about it. So let's just go from that. Okay, go see the movie. It's in theaters right now. It's getting a lot of buzz. Every single Black creator on the planet by this point has made a reel about it, has talked about it, has posted about it. So it's time for you to go see the movie. And one thing that I love about my cousin and I love about this film is that she's like, you know what? This is for Black people, period. Others can see it, but this is for you. This is a love letter to you. This is a note to you, especially Black women. So you very much need to see this film. Okay, I'm done. I'll keep talking about it if I don't. So let's head right into, we are talking elections today, y'all, because there is a lot to talk about. We had our primary elections for the fall elections coming up, and we'll talk about what was on the ballot and who won in Dauphin County in particular and across the state. Well, of course, we know that the governor is on the ballot currently. Current governor's on the ballot. And we are having a governor's election this fall. This fall, we are having a governor's. I want y'all to very much be ready. I do not want y'all to wait. You need to do your homework. A lot of people feel like they didn't have a choice and all these different things. And to that I say, understood, but you still need to do your homework on what's what. and make sure that you are paying attention to these results. So just in case you did not know, we had our primary elections on May the 19th. That was this past Tuesday. It already feels like a lifetime ago. And yours truly was on the ballot. And I tell you one thing, quite honestly, I did not do a lot for this. One, because I'm in the middle of planning for Juneteenth and raising money for Juneteenth, and it was just a lot to do. And I was traveling, so on and so forth, working on other campaigns. So we'll talk about that and what I was going for. But I want you to see first what was on the ballot. So we are only covering Dauphin County. If you want your county to see what's going on in your county, type that right into the internet and see where your folks landed for their own results. I'm a big data nerd when it comes to elections data. So I love running the numbers, looking at the numbers. And so I'll show you a little bit about that. So over here to the left on my screen, these are all of the offices that were on your ballot: governor, lieutenant governor, representatives in Congress, right? In Dauphin County, we are in Pennsylvania's 10th congressional district. Also, Senate 34, which covers Dauphin County, parts of, and state representative in the 103rd, 104th, 105th, 106th, and 125th. Those are all Dauphin County. And then you'll see I'd like to expand here and show you all the different things that are happening. Representative Congress, yep. And then state party committee for both the Republicans and Democrats. And then the local party committee in every single precinct person was up this time as well. I did not run for that one. I ran for state committee this year, so we'll take a look at that. And I am always amazed at just the sheer number of precincts. We have 158 precincts just in Dauphin County alone, representing I think 200 and plus residents, 200,000 plus residents. So just taking a look at that sheer number at first, this is something that I'm always so surprised at. Look at the number of wards and precincts we have across the entire county. And when you really zoom into just the county level, you understand just the sheer number of voters that we have across the county by just looking at the number of townships and boroughs and the city of Harrisburg that is represented there. So that's something I want you to take very much into consideration. And then we're going to go into some of the results. So as you can see, there were 14,000 ballots received, 14,263 ballots. This is kind of low. The last primary we had was a significantly higher number. So let's take a look at that. If we go down here to the municipal primaries, you can see the number of ballots that were cast. Oh, actually, that's a lie. We actually had a couple more this time. So that's very good to know. Somebody had said, it was so much. Oh, well, I have to look at a comparable year. Excuse me. But somebody said, it was so many less than last time. So let's look at a comparable year. That's always my mistake. I don't look at the comparable years. So yeah, so we had about 2,500 less than a comparable election, which would have been 2024. Now, presidential years are also different because a lot more people vote in those years. So I would even go further back to the last governor's election year, which is 2022. But as you can see, all this stuff is here for you to, kind of use and see. Yeah, so we had 14,000 people vote almost in 2022, and in 2026 primary election results, we had a little bit more, 14,000. So actually, the person who told me this, you're not right. Actually, we had a couple more people vote in this election, about 300 more, but 300 more is a lot more than I thought too, because a lot of folks were saying, it was less. So we had on the governor's race, very interesting results. Not really. I mean, Democrat, Republican, but what is interesting is the number of votes cast on each side. So we have Democrat, Republican races. And the thing to know here is that 25,000 Democrats, 26,003 Democrats cast their ballots, and 15,920 Republicans cast their ballots. This is something to watch across your counties in your state, because this is going to give you some indicators for the fall. If you have almost a 10,000 person difference in the primaries and who's voting, this will give you some indicators. I'm not saying this for sure, but you can do a safe bet on who is going to win in the county at least. Now, overall is another story, because you have to watch each county and see those trends. But you can make some really good predictions based on this data here. Next, we had lieutenant governor, similar story, right? Similar story. We had 20, almost 25,000, almost as much as the governor cast for the Democrat lieutenant governor. So very close. But look at the drop off here. This is interesting. So we had 2 people on the ballot for lieutenant governor, which I thought was very cool. But just see how we have first of all, we have a split. And then second of all, we have a little bit of a drop off. So those things you really want to pay attention to as you're trying to discern what is going to happen in the fall, how you should move, what kind of research you should be doing. Look at those numbers, look at how, and regardless of who you are, what you are, Democrat, Republican, or indifferent, so sorry to the independents and others who could not vote in the primary. I personally don't think you should be barred from voting in a primary. I think if we are really truly doing the will of the voters, we let everyone vote in the primary. But that is controlled by the 2 recognized parties in the state. So the Democrats and Republicans would have to agree to open primaries in order for us to have them. So I know a lot of my independent friends, I talked to a couple of people last night who said, oh, I went to the polls to vote, but I forgot I'm an independent, or I forgot I'm some other party and I can't vote in the primary. And a lot of these decisions are made in the primary. So, especially like in an area like ours, I'm in the 103rd, Nate Davidson, shout out to him, is my rep. And he was the only person on the ballot. So because we are a rather blue area, and I will go down to his, and because there was no challenger, right? At least no Democratic challenger, these are going to be decided in the primary. Look at this. So here is the race for the 103rd where I live. This is for the Pennsylvania State House. And we have 2980 votes cast. 2934 was for Nate Davidson, and there's some write-ins. But look at this. There was nobody on the ballot on the Republican side and only 79 votes cast. So what does that tell you? What does that tell you? Yeah, it means that we can say for a certain who we're going to have in the fall as a rep, because there was no challengers, not in the primary and not on the other side, the other recognized party. And this is something that you have to look out for each of these. And every district behaves a little differently. Same thing for 104, Dave Mattson. So no challenger on the Republican side. He did have a challenger on the Democratic side. Shout out to Shane Steele. He was on the show last time. And I just want to say, shout out to you, Shane. You did a great job. I think you did an excellent job. And getting 40% of the vote for your first time out the gate is nothing to sneeze at. You understand what I'm saying? So I want you to make sure that you are prepared. You get a good team around you, and I want you to do it again. Shout out to you. You did a great job. But it's also hard to beat an incumbent, right? Like when you have these contests, if you have an incumbent, especially an incumbent who never had a challenger, right? Who was able to get other people kicked off the ballot and was able to run opposed, you get to really write your own story, right? And that was the goal of getting other people kicked off the ballot. So you write your own story. You don't have any challenges. So I'm proud of Shane for bringing that challenge. Congratulations to Dave Mattson for winning. It doesn't mean that things need to stay status quo, though. That is not what it means. And I'll be seeing folks, at the county and state level anyhow. So I'm excited about that. And we'll talk about why that is, because we're going down to my race. So, honey, I ran for state committee. Did y'all know that? No, because I didn't tell nobody. All right. I didn't tell anybody I was running. Why? Because I was busy and scared and tired. That's really the reason. And I was doubting myself a lot. And I was going to write a whole post about this. I was doubting myself and, I should have. But I was just wanted to say thank you. First, I wanted to say thank you to everyone. I got over 100 texts on election day saying, Kamika, we just voted for you. Kamika, we just voted for you. Kamika, we just voted for you. Pictures, you're taking your children to the polls. I cried. I'm not going to lie to you. I bawled. I was so happy to see people, 1, participating in the democratic process, and 2, trusting me with their vote for something so important. So if you don't know what state committee is, basically state committee for the Democrats and the Republicans, because both of them were up. The Republicans had 7 seats and they only had 7 people, so they all got their seats. But on the Democratic side, we had 6 seats and we had 11 people running. So a lot going on there. So if you don't know what state parties do, they write the rules for how the party behaves in the state. Literally, they have different caucuses that focus on different issues: Progressive Caucus, the Black Caucus, and so on and so forth. All of these bodies help us set the tone for the issues and the policies that the voters that belong to those parties want to see. Because they are formalized at the state level, they get a lot of support, right? They have a lot of support and they have a lot of backing. And as such, particularly from the governor and all these electeds who want to have a strong party. So as such, there is a really great infrastructure. And I encourage you to look that up. But back to the elected side, we had a lot of people running. So if you see it here, it was vote for 6. Members of the Democratic State Committee, vote for 6. And on your ballot, it said 3 men and 3 women. So vote for 3 men and vote for 3 women, if you remember correctly. And so to show you what happened here, these percentages were really, really close for a lot of people. Really, really close. So I don't want you to think that some people, they lost. They didn't lose by much, especially in such a crowded field. So I'll show you what happened here. For the women, I will show you that Miss Phyllis Bennett got 10.88% of the vote with 14,954 votes. That's almost 15,000 votes. That's almost, if you go back to the top, because I'm going to make sure you see this, this is almost as many votes as there was people who voted. So that's pretty crazy. I think that's amazing. So then let's go back down here. And it just all goes down from there. And everybody comes behind her. Myself, I got 14,670 votes. And as the provisional ballots and the overseas ballots and the absentee ballots come in, those numbers go up a tiny bit. Mine was 14,607 votes. And I'm looking at every vote, honey. I want to see them all counted myself. So I just keep an eye on that number as those ballots roll in. And they should all be in by now, but if not, they'll come in when they come, as long as they're postmarked by election day. I don't know. I think they're received by election day. Excuse me. So the next person after me was Miss Peggy Grove, and both Miss Phyllis and Miss Peggy were both already standing state committee members. So they're good. They're back in there. I am the newcomer on the block. I came in second right before Miss Peggy Grove. So it was myself, Miss Phyllis. Miss Phyllis, myself, and Miss Peggy. Those are the top 3 on the women's side. And then if you look over to the men's side, you'll see a similar kind of thing, but they had 6 men instead of 5 in reference to the 5 women. So let's see who was top of the ticket here. Mr. Cole Goodman came in with 11,864 votes. Mr. Fred Failona came in with 11,539 votes. And Mr. Riley Johnson came in with 11,251 votes. So that's going to be the top for the men. Some people did get knocked off. That's how it works. You got to get the top. So if that's the case, now we have a couple new voices on the state committee, and we're going to see what they actually do with that. And also shout out to another folks from Cumberland County, neighboring county, who won. Shout out to Mr. John Flood. Shout out to a couple other people who won their races as well. And I was going to say this earlier. I don't have any grand promises. I do promise to work, but I don't know what I'm walking into yet. And I've been to plenty of state committees, but I have to get in there, I have to learn. I got to figure out what's going on. And I have to make sure that whatever I choose to do, I have a path forward, join some caucuses, make sure that I understand the lay of the land. Because a lot of folks will promise, I'm going to get in there, I'm going to do this. Truly, we understand what the role does, but you also have to understand the culture of what's happening. And I think that's something I still have to learn. Even though I know a little bit about it. I know a lot of the players. Let's be for real. I've been around, a while. But there's never enough learning that you can do. You always need to be learning. Always need to be ready to learn. So the last one that we had was also local party committee. That's our Dauphin County committee. So every single precinct in the county can have 1 male and 1 female representative to the county party. Right now I think we had 110 or so people on the ballot, which is good. But if we have 159 precincts, and we had 110 people on the ballot, you do the math. That's less than half of the amount of people that you can have for the parties. So that's something to think about. And just so you're aware, you can be appointed once the elections are over and the reorganization meeting happens. You can be appointed to be on the Dauphin County. You can also be appointed to the state committee as well. But for the Dauphin County Dems and Republicans, and same thing at the state level, PA Dems and PA Republicans, you can be appointed after the fact. So if there is a seat that is empty that where you live, look up your ward and precinct or just precinct, look it up, see if you have a representation. And now is the time. You want to make sure that you are being represented to the fullest if you belong to one of these parties. And if you're like, you know what, my party's not listed here, how do I get involved? Call the party that you belong to. Green Party, Independent Party, Working Families Party. In our state, one that's making a rise, Keystone Party. Call the party and see how you can get involved. So even though some of their stuff won't be on the ballot, check that, because you want to make sure that if you are serious about voting, if you're serious about being an involved and informed civic participant, okay, make sure that you are contacting the bodies that you say that you're a part of and figuring out how you can help either raise their profile, how you can help, make sure that they actually represent the people. All these things are super important, and it's how you preserve your elections in a time like this. So just keep that in mind. So again, congratulations to all the winners. Shout out to me because I won my seat. And yeah, I'm excited about what is coming next. We have 5 months until the election. This is going to be May, June, July, August, September, October, November. Yeah, we got about 5. It's about 5 and some change. Whew, it's about to be a sprint. So prepare yourselves, especially if you are involved, prepare yourselves for that sprint. It is going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot going on. And I know everybody's talking about unity now that the primaries are over, especially since we had some contested races. And listen to me, I'm all for unity, but I'm also all for transparency. That's what I'm for. So in order for me to get to unity, I want to talk about transparency first. We have to be honest that working out our ideas in the public square is one of the ways you protect democracy. It is how you protect democracy. Mudslinging and doing all this weird political stuff behind the scenes is not how you protect democracy. No matter what side you're on, if you are talking about the other side, saying they're bad, and then doing similar tactics to the other side, are you really about the business of democracy? And my answer is no, you're not. Okay. So in that unity conversation, I think there needs to be some reconciliation and some recognizing that the transparency and the level of how we carry ourselves in election was lost for a lot of the candidates. And I've talked about it in the show before. I'm not going to beat no dead horses because we got to move forward. But you can go back and see that. And I just want to let you know, if we are moving forward, if we're saying it's time to unify, what we need to do is have some reconciliation and some around transparency and how we treat each other as any party in a primary. Okay, well, that was fun. I encourage you to be civically engaged. We're gonna take a short break. We're gonna be right back because we got a lot to talk about for Juneteenth, honey. We got to talk about Juneteenth. So I want you to take a moment, get yourself together, look at those results. Go to this one is elections.dauphincounty.gov. They changed their website, by the way, too, if you're in Dauphin County. But you can see all of the race information there, and then you can go to the Borough of Elections page and see all the write-ins, if there are any write-ins who won. So there's a lot of information to digest, but take a quick 15 to 30 and do it. Even if you get tired after 15 minutes, at least you looked. All right, we'll be right back after a short little break to talk about Juneteenth and all the things that are coming up. See you in a sec. Welcome back to the Black News Beat. I'm your host, Dr. Kamika Campbell. We have a bit of a different show today. We just got done with the elections and going through some of the winners and some of the just information, right, about how we look at the aftermath of elections and how we predict for November. Nothing heavy. So if you want to go back and watch that, please do. And we are transitioning now to talk about Juneteenth, because Juneteenth is coming up quickly. And I like to use this platform to talk about, why we do Juneteenth, because I think a lot of people don't know. And I think people think it's just a party. And I had a very enlightening conversation with a very good, dear friend and mentor of mine today who said, well, I didn't even know that about Juneteenth. And I said, dang, I need to talk about this more. So let's take a look. Let's take a look at some of the things that we're doing for Juneteenth. But I'm going to take you through a little presentation to show you all the stuff that we've been able to do with Juneteenth and how we've been able to, really grow this celebration. We are in our 7th year for Juneteenth. Okay. And so I don't want you to think this is a fly by night kind of, that's not what we're doing. We don't do fly by night at the YPOC Greater Harrisburg. Okay. We spend 10 months out of the year planning this to make a beautiful offering for the city and the region. So let's, take a moment. I want you to know about our theme, built for this moment, radically reimagining our next chapter. This is intentionally chosen to reflect the climate that we're in. So many rights, protections, safeguards, normalcy, so many things are being teared down right now, right? That we really wanted to reflect something that says that, we are built for this. We've been through this before. Juneteenth literally is the story of how we have been through this before, right? With our rights, with how the Black people in particular in this state and around the country were kept from economic advancement. And I used to tell this story in a very different way when we first started doing this. I've done a lot of research on Pennsylvania and how emancipation started, partial abolition started here as the first state, the recognized union, to have some kind of laws around this. And as we're marching into the 250th anniversary of the United States, right, we want to place in context what that means for abolition and emancipation. So picture it, America, 1776, Independence Day, and all these things are happening, and there's still slavery. And one of the biggest places where independence is celebrated in the country is here in Pennsylvania. So what happens about 4 years after that is partial abolition, because of folks like Ben Franklin and others who pushed for and organized around having this period of what they call abolitionism and having slaves freed. And there's a lot of history that goes into it. But there were some factions that were like, well, if we free them, they can't come into society, so got to send them back. That quickly got abandoned because of, one, how hard it was, and two, because folks were like, no, you're not sending me back to nothing. We built this. Built for this moment. Is a real connection to the theme here, especially in the climate that we're in. And we all know the climate. We all know that this current presidential administration is stripping away everything. But we're built for this. And when the ashes settle and when the dust clears, we will be here, and we will be here to rebuild, build back better. Hashtag. That's not mine. I stole it from these folks. But we are built for this. We have done this before. We've done it in iterations over generations. So the first thing I want to say is we know there are other Juneteenth celebrations in the region. We are not claiming to own Juneteenth. What we are claiming is that it's important to celebrate it in a way that honors the history of Juneteenth, right? And honors the history in this country. So who owns Juneteenth? Emancipation is the story of the entire diaspora, right? Our role is to steward the space with care. That's our role. Juneteenth HBG is one doorway into a shared history, and we are all stewards of American history. I want to point out the American history part. We know there are many celebrations, but we're asking any celebration to honor Black American history and the effort and the sweat equity and the way that was paved for so many of us, including myself. I'm a first generation American who came here, whose family came here to literally walk the roads that were paved by Black Americans. Literal facts on that. So we're asking folks to honor that history. This is important. This is very important. I do not think people understand how dangerous it is to have these kind of like historical rewritings of very important things that are already mishmashed in society. People think Juneteenth is a fake holiday, right? And we strive at connecting, at YPOC, we strive at connecting the abolition story from Pennsylvania to Galveston, Texas, and honoring that 85 years march towards freedom. And there were other states. I've done so many talks on this, but there were other states that had abolition before us, but they weren't states in the Union yet, right? The middle states had it, I think, around the same time. Vermont had it 3 years before us in 1777. But at that time, they were not states in the recognized union. Pennsylvania was. And that's important because other states followed Pennsylvania, like New York and New Jersey. Right. And emancipation is not a story of like, they so benevolently freed the slaves. No. If you read our partial abolition laws in Pennsylvania, you see that it was so restrictive and it actually kind of perpetuated slavery in a very limited way for a number of at least a generation. According to that law, some people that were born, if you were a slave already and your children were born before a certain point in time, they were still slaves. You were still slaves. You were not freed automatically. So these kinds of nuances to abolition law need to be talked about because it directly affects and contributes to how African Americans and the people that ride on the coattails of African Americans show up in our world today, show up in our state today, show up in our city today. And I always do this advocacy for this book. It's called The Blue Orchard. Shout out to Alex Weber, a friend of mine. He put me onto it. You need to read that book. If you want to understand why Harrisburg is the way it is current day, you need to read Blue Orchard. But that's a little aside. That's my little ADHD moment. Let me keep going. So we are going into our 7th year, right? We've been doing this for 7 years, doing Juneteenth celebrations. And let me tell you something. It was never easy. The first thing we ever did was that when we were still using Hurston Manor as a YPOC house, we had our very first Juneteenth celebration there. We had this space. We wanted to honor it. We wanted to, we watched The Five Bloods that year. Shout out to all the amazing cast members there. That movie was so gory, honey, but it was so good. We had a self-care room upstairs, the wellness room, the Dara Dara wellness room, it's still that now. It's just a little different. And we really celebrated Juneteenth. We had a big backyard party. It was a vibe. They were singing melodies from heaven, from the deck. We had a DJ. It was beautiful. And we just grew from there. In 2021, shout out to Corey Dupree, my brother, my friend, I love you. We joined together along with Elise Urbis and some others to make this beautiful kind of like zine. And that's down here in the corner. We made this beautiful zine to kind of catalog all of the different Juneteenth celebrations that were happening across the city of Harrisburg. And then in 2022, we all came together and said, we're going to do Juneteenth HBG. This is how this was born. A lot of people don't know the history behind this. We took that zine, had over, I think, 50 different events, and we wanted to bring everybody together for an event as much as we could. And I'm not even talking too far at the city, like 50 different events in all of the zip codes and all of the areas and all the townships that had the Harrisburg mailer, right? Everybody who's like, oh, Lower Paxton, Harrisburg, oh, Spoterra, Harrisburg, right? So we brought everyone together, and I'm happy to report to this day, we still have about, I think it's like 70% of the people who were originally in that group who work with us right now in some capacity or another. So it's quite a retention over many years of trying to build a unified approach around how we honor, Juneteenth and honor emancipation history in the country. In 2022, we also brought on Shaniqua Williams. A lot of the look to Juneteenth and what you see about Juneteenth is due to Shaniqua Williams. Shout out to her and her company, Roman Empire Marketing Group, and introducing us to great people like Jasmine Slaughter and also Maxim Giles and a few others who have been a part of the Juneteenth story for so long. And as you can see, we just kept, growing the offerings, making sure that we understood the art aspect of honoring Juneteenth, make sure we understood the historical aspect of honoring Juneteenth. That's why we have the different types of events that we have. And that's why we have a week-long celebration, because we know there are different things for different people, and we want to honor that. Next up, this is our week of this year. Dun, 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 dun. And this is the old flyer. I had to update it, but it's fine. You can find that coming up. So this is our theme. This is our week, June 14th to the 20th. And these are the events that we have coming up. So on Sunday, June 14th is our virtual kickoff. We'll be giving away tickets. It'll be 12 p.m. on FBIG YT Live. And if you are wanting to come and you're seeing a price issue, or some of the things cost because it just costs to put on these events, and unfortunately people are giving less, right? We've got to hold up at the county and the city with money, so we do have to charge, unfortunately. We don't want to. Trust me when I tell you we do not want to, but many of the events are still free. So the kickoff is free. The YPOC virtual, also YPOC is turning 10, so our YPOC 10 VIP reception is at Men in the Kitchen on Tuesday, June the 16th. We're turning 10. We're inviting special guests, Justin Pearson, who is going to be our keynote speaker for the summit, will be at our VIP reception on Tuesday, the 16th, and he will be here on Wednesday, the 17th, for our Juneteenth HBG summit at Harrisburg University. Meet us there. It says 9 a.m., but it's really 8 a.m. if you want breakfast. Get there early to get registered. It is $5 and $12. If you cannot afford that, contact us. We want you there for the learning. We usually give away tickets anyway to various companies and organizations. So please come. Don't let the cost be a barrier. And if you can't afford it, let us know, particularly for the summit. Then we have our Taste of Black Harrisburg coming up on June the 18th. We are going to be at Culture & Co., which is a shout out to Elise Irvis. She is our illustrious Chief Administrative Officer of Young Professionals Color Greater Harrisburg, one of the first members, our first membership chair. And she has really grown our membership from literally nothing to hundreds of people. This is something that I think we really want to highlight for the 10th year of YPOC and the 7th year of Juneteenth HBG, because we really have grown this community, a dependable community, where we get together, we give people places to be and to learn and to grow. And so, and then a lot of that is due to Elise. To this day, she still makes space for us in her own business, Culture and Commerce Co-working, where Taste of Black Harrisburg is going to be, by letting us meet every week for Topics Tuesday. So we're there every single week. And those kind of community building things is why we're able to have, lead up to a celebration like this. All those things are just so important. And then Friday, Juneteenth Jubilee, we are moving. We usually are in Soma, but we want to plan for a little bit of a different celebration this year. So we're going to be in Riverfront Park South in Shipoke, right in front of the YPOC house. We'll be right there. We'll start at 2 p.m. Oh, by the way, Taste of Black Harrisburg starts at 5 p.m. Sorry, that's not there. I'll put that. And then we're going from 2 p.m. on Friday to 8 p.m. And we're going to have, we just confirmed that we're going to have Due Process Band. Shout out to Mr. Terrence Webb for accepting, having us, coming to play for us. So we're really excited about Due Process. That's going to be so super cool. Additionally, on Saturday, June the 20th, we're having the Juneteenth Parade downtown Harrisburg, 12 p.m. Now, there's been a lot of contention around the parade and a lot of contention around the week. Again, none of this is possible without y'all. So if y'all support this, if y'all support us, sign up to be in the parade, sign up to participate. We're going to be having giveaways because the last thing coming up is the concert and t-shirts and different things like that. So sign up, download a ticket. You cannot get any prizes unless you download a ticket. So go ahead and do that. The QR code's right there. You can literally go ding, ding right now and get that going. You can also screenshot this page, and then open your camera on your phone, open it up, and it will give you, if you click on the QR code, it actually give you the link. So you don't have to do much. All you got to do is tickets and info, juneteenthhbg.com. If you don't want to do QR coding, it's very easy. You can see everything going on. And then download your tickets. Most of the stuff is still free. What costs right now, we'll go through that, is the summit, $5 and $12, Taste of Black Harrisburg, which is $20 for like the fast lane, but we still have 100 people that are going to be free if you show up there on time at 5 on Thursday the 18th. And then the Juneteenth Jubilee is still free. We're giving away meals there, so make sure you sign up. I don't know if that's closed or not, because people be running to get them meals, so because they know it's always good. And then the parade, of course, is still free. Shout out to Justin Browning at Sawyer's, because that's going to be like our little stage and viewing area. So please come out there. That's going to be lit. That's going to be a lot of fun. And then, of course, the concert is going to be super poppin'. I know you guys already saw Zeddy Will, Honey Baby, and the one, the only, the greatest, Keith Murray. I went back and listened to all Keith's music in preparation for this concert, and he is still lit. He is a bop. He really is. And so are Honey Baby, and I'm a little older now, okay? A little bit, just a tiny. And I remember thinking when I first we're going through the options. I was like, I don't know who these people are, but I do, because I'm on Instagram and the TikToks just like everyone else, and I just had to put a name to a face. So Zeddy Will, Honey Baby, Keith Murray, please go, refresh yourself on their music, especially Zeddy Will. Like, all his music is a bop. Like, I did not know I liked all his music so much, but I do. Most of it. Some of it's a little young for me because, again, old, but most of it's great. And I'm so excited to see him in concert. It's going to be a super poppin' week. You need to be there. Okay. The tickets for the concert right now, y'all, are $20. Do not, y'all do this every year. Y'all wait till late to get them tickets. And then you're mad when you get to the door and they're $50. You know why they're $50 when you get to the door? Because you haven't made enough money yet to pay the artist. We got to get that money. Okay. So I want to make sure that we, get your tickets early, so that way we know that you want to be there, and then we can show people that you want to be there, and they'll give us money to subsidize you to make sure that we keep these tickets at $20, right? But they will be $50 at the door, just so you know. They're going to go 20, 30, 50. So get them now. Don't argue with me. Okay. If you want VIP, that's a special process because we are saving that for our sponsors. But don't argue. Go get your tickets now. You understand? Don't argue. Get your tickets now. The concert is on Saturday, the 20th. And then we have an after party at Sawyer's. Again, shout out to Justin Browning. Shout out to Justin Browning for a lot. He is such a wonderful partner, community partner, and we're thankful that he's opening up his space to us. We're thankful that he's working with us. We are not, event planners. I mean, I am, but for most of us, we are a conglomerate of community. It's not our full-time job. A lot of us are doing this part-time. A lot of us are doing this. All of us are doing it volunteer. And so, and we get a small stipend, but what is $500 to the hundreds of hours we do over 10 months, right? It's just a thank you. It's just a small thank you that we build into this process. So shout out to folks like Justin Browning and Justin Coleman and all of the different folks who are helping us with space and different things to, walkthroughs and engineering, all kinds of stuff. Okay. Parades. Shout out to the engineers at the city for helping us understand parade routes. Shout out to Winston Williams for security. I mean, there's so many people to thank. And that's the point I want to say to this. We make a celebration that is based on economic impact. One city, one team, one impact. That impact in previous years has had economic impact in front of it for a reason. We have vendors at most of these events. We make sure people come out and shop with our local businesses that don't have brick and mortars. We make sure that people are highlighted for the good work that they do. We bring an economic impact of $500,000 and up with our celebration. You understand what I'm saying? We had 9,500 people come out last year. We're trying to break that 10,000 mark this year. So all these things are super important to understand, that we're not doing this just to throw a party. That's not what this is about. It's always fun because we're fun people, but we're here to support our community. That's the bottom line. And we want you to know that. So there's a little more to talk about. We did a survey and 10,000 people filled it out. Honey, when I saw the 10,000 number, I cried. I did. A little tear came down because people really do appreciate what we're doing. We serve a variety of age groups. People are represented across the age groups. They're represented across the genders, and they're represented across the counties, right? This is just asking people who had come from anywhere from 20 to 2025, what they wanted, and how they wanted to see this show up in the community. They love the multi-day, multi-neighborhood feel. They love culture, economics, and civic engagement. And they love the joy, learning, and connections. These are all things people reported to us, right? These are what people reported to us. They also told us that what they wanted to see. We want more night experiences. We want more comfort and family spaces. We want deeper learning. I love that. And if you're interested in deeper learning, the summit, come through. The panelists and the presenters this year, out of this world. So you really need to come through. I can't wait to hear Justin Pearson of Tennessee speak. He was just stripped of all his committee assignments in his governmental structure there in Tennessee. And he's fighting the good fight. He's running again. He's been drawn out of his district. So many things are happening to really, really curtail democracy right now. And he is at the forefront of that fight. And as a young Black man doing that work, being arrested, being detained, he is literally one of our modern day civil rights leaders. You need to come hear him speak. They also wanted a more focus on wellness. To that event, we're going to have Dr. Gina Charles, who's going to be presenting at the summit. Not only she's a presenter, she's also a sponsor because she puts her money where her mouth is, period. And she really does. We also had an event with her yesterday at Culture and Commerce Co-working calls Mom's Mini Retreat. And every woman left there feeling so seen and comfort, and cared for. And that was in large part to her and the massages, honey, because the massages was also great. And then also people want strong neighborhood presence, stronger presence around the county. So to that end, we want to make sure that we invite you to bring your folks from all over the Dauphin County. We get a lot of support from the county and the city. So we want to make sure that you feel invited from wherever you are to come down and celebrate. Book your hotel rooms. We are going to have folks who are coming in from out of town. So you book yours early too. The Crown Plaza still has places, and some other folks book an Airbnb. For us, we measure our economic impact in things like that. How many hotel rooms are booked? How many Airbnbs are booked? How many people are buying things? How much money our vendors make? How much money our contractors make that are connected to our city? So please, I need you. Go ahead, download them tickets. Let people know that you're going to show up for them for these events. Also by the numbers. So this is our 2025 snapshot. 9,500 participants, a 22% increase across zip codes, counties, and states. This is crazy to me. Like, never in my wildest dreams did I imagine that we would be hosting a festival with an organization that I built from the ground up with my friends and my husband, and we would be seeing numbers like this. I just didn't think it was a real thing. I did not. I didn't think we would ever see this. So I'm so appreciative. We had the parade first last year. It's last this year. We had a day of rest, which we're kind of going to do this year. We're going from Sunday to Tuesday, so you guys get a little time off. We had our press conference Monday. We had our VIP reception Tuesday. This year, the press conference is going to be on Tuesday in the morning before the VIP conference. And then we had the summit. We had Jubilee. We had Taste Black Harrisburg and Soma. And we had the concert. So the parade is moving down and everything else is staying pretty much in the same order. And this takes weeks to even pull together because, honey, we don't always agree on the dates and what we're supposed to be doing, but it comes together. And then that's the beauty of having a beautiful kind of leadership team that understands how to solidify things and keep it moving. As you can see, 17110, I would have thought it would have been 17104, which is city of Harrisburg, that would show up the biggest, but people are showing up who give us their zip code from 17110. So shout out to y'all. We also had the most folks that came was the parade last year. We had about 2,700 people with the participants and the people in the street at the parade. Crazy numbers. Like, that pushed our numbers way up. That was something we had never done before. So that's why we need you to come out and support, because people got money. People was outside getting bread because we had so many people on the street and people were celebrating, but they were also stimulating the economy. It is not something we say we want in Harrisburg. And we always talking about that. This is something that you should support. And then the other event that had a lot of folks come out was Soma. People love Soma, honey. That's like a big deal. All right. Soma's a huge deal. After that, from Harrisburg to beyond, because of the parade, and I want y'all to hear me clear on this, and it being on Juneteenth last year, we had the biggest audience reach we've ever in our lives. But I never would have imagined that we would have reached an audience of 81.6 million people. What? Across the country, across the world. Because of that parade and because of the week, we had 573,000 estimated views. We had 30 pieces of coverage. We had 3 pieces of national coverage. We already had our first piece of national coverage already. We had 155,000 engagements, and we had about a domain authority of about 69. So all of these numbers are so super amazing. 23 counties, 11 states, 7 events. This is something that you need to be a part of because of the sheer just greatness of how it is growing every year. Okay. And look at these sponsors and look at the folks who helped us, right? Today's Show, CBS, Essence, iHeart, Capital B, FSR. Listen, honey, Juneteenth HBG to the world. And that's where I'll say about that. Let me keep it moving here because we got to go. And, we built some avatars to show you kind of the people that come to the festival. Meet Danielle. She's all about values and learning and impact. Meet Marcus. He's all about energy, culture, and connection. And meet Alicia. She's all about families, elders, and anchors of the community. And these are real attributes that we put into like these avatars. And no, they're not AI. These are actually real people and real pictures. But Alicia's the anchor. She's steady. She's a family-centered person. You know, what's she going to be doing in the next 18 months? She's likely to seek out family-friendly events, plus food, vendor items, and services that support family and well-being. So these are the kind of people that we attract to Juneteenth with the types of events that we offer. And then for Marcus, who's he? He's a social, culture-forward connector who brings the energy, shares a moment, and turns events into memories. And these are truly the men, and not just men. Like, we chose Marcus as an avatar because we wanted to make sure that our male population was represented. We always try to do that, particularly our Black male population. But in the next 18 months, he's likely to seek out concerts and nightlife, merch, food, vendor finds, and brands that feel authentic and current. Right? Always looking for the next hot thing. You know, he be showing up for the music and the vibe. And so do I. I am very simpatico with Marcus. And then the last avatar that we have is Danielle. She's the conscious consumer. She's a little more mature. You know, she's a values-driven, impact-minded participant who wants celebration with meaning, integrity, and purpose. She's an executive. She's a director at, you know, maybe your local health center or your local government outfit. And in the next 18 months, she's likely to seek out values-aligned wellness education, impact experiences, and membership or donations to accountable organizations. Like, she wants to give her money and put her money where her mouth is. So those are the kinds of people that we have. And we have built our activations from listening. Leadership and empowerment sessions, we're going to be seeing that at the summit. Night market experiences, we'll be seeing that with Taste of Black Harrisburg and with the Jubilee. Community comfort spaces, that was a big one. Can we have some more places to sit? Can we have some more tents? Got you on that. Program and hub info station to make sure that we are letting you know where the things are at all times. Wellness and restoration, folks are really looking forward to that. That's why we pulled in providers like Dr. Gina. And of course, VIP experiences. You're going to really enjoy the VIP experiences this year. All of our team is working across all the events that provide really cool VIP activations. But we can't do this without fundraising. And here is the financial situation that we are in right now. We are finance constrained because of decisions out of our control. The state budget was late. The federal budget was late. That pushed a lot of things back. They didn't even decide certain budgets till very late, especially at the state level. And that really impacts all the dollars that we apply for. It impacts everything. And on top of that, people are just giving less. They're giving less of things that people consider DEI. People are pulling in the purse strings because they don't know what they're going to expect with this administration. There's a lot of factors happening, but it all equals we need more money, right? And we have cut things. We have to cut down the budget. We slim things down. We try to make, things work in different ways that we, had done before, right? We're supporting a week-long festival, obviously. But we can't do this without fundraising. No matter how I slice it, that's the real of it. Shout out to Mr. Fred Clark for coming in at $5,000 just this week to support the parade, because we're at a $25,000 deficit with that currently. The community gives the vision. Partners fund the infrastructure, sponsors fuel the experience, and the individuals like you sustain the soul of this celebration. So, if you're interested in sponsoring, if you've seen this presentation and you're like, you know what, I think I want to do a little something, contact me, right? If you have my number, just hit me up. But also the YPOC number, text us, email us. We'll be happy to talk. And shout out to Orange Theory for emailing us and setting up a conversation and, being willing to partner with us. So we have people who have heard the call, answered the call, but we still need you. So schedule your call, let's align on your goals, and you'll get a custom proposal. We are not doing tiers. Tiers don't work. Everybody wants something outside of the tiers anyway. So it's a negotiation, and I'm cool with that. It takes a lot more work, but as long as we align closely with what you want, I'm okay with that. I'm totally okay with that. So thank you for listening. It's been a fun time this year planning, but it's been stressful. And I want y'all to know that. But we put all this sweat equity, blood, sweat, and tears into this because it means something. It means economic empowerment. We are always connecting emancipation to economic empowerment. Why? Because slavery was the number one, not one of the economic driver that pushed this country forward and made it what it is today. So that is why we're doing this. I hope this gives you some more clarity on who, what we are, why we're doing it, why it matters, right? A lot of people think that this celebration is just something that kind of pops out of the sky and, people are pocketing money. I mean, there's all these conversations, right? There's all these conversations people are having about what they think is happening. And I'm just here to set the record straight. This is for you. This is for the community. And we want to make sure that you celebrate and you feel good with what you're getting and you understand and you're a part. We want you to be a part of it at the cellular level, right? And that just means making sure that you download your tickets and that you sponsor if you can and that you attend, because this is something that is for you. Well, all right. I'm not even gonna go to last lap because I feel like I've done it. I think we've done it. And I just want to say thank you. I thank you for supporting Juneteenth HBG for 7 years. Thank you for making sure, I mean, all the people who have been posting about the parade and reposting our events, thank you. That's what we need. We do not spend a lot of money on advertising and things because it is expensive. And those relationships are always interesting. But you sharing it and you talking about it is what helps us get to where we're going. So thank you again. And I know I will see you before Juneteenth, but I will hopefully will see you for Juneteenth. Will I see you for Juneteenth? Will I see you for Juneteenth? How about you? How about you? I'm confusing Asher because I'm going back and forth. But thank you guys. I will hope to see you for Juneteenth. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell everybody. And I will see you next week. Thank you so much for tuning into the Black News Beat. I'm your host, Dr. Kamika Campbell. See you next week. Bye.